And how about the performance metrics? Are you still just watching what you always watch with PPC, or are there other things that you ought to be watching?
For the most part, it's very, very similar. The real difference lies in how you're charged. So as an example, I'd still say 90+% of our clients, the main thing that they want to see is return on ad spend, total return on ad spend. We're a very profit focused agency. We're very bottom line focused. So our default is to focus on those sorts of things. That being said, if clients are much more concerned with overall reach, then that's adaptable. But it's the real important thing with all that is to figure it out on the front end. Like, is this client mostly considered with top line revenue? Are they mostly considered with getting $6 out for every dollar that they put in? What is their KPI and what does that number look like? And then that helps for us to advise things like budget. The only other thing is that instead of looking at metrics like cost per click, which we do look at that in the DSP, it's just charged differently. We'll look at things like cost per detail page view for awareness campaigns. And that helps us to get more of a holistic view of how all of our ads are performing.
So one of the things that you mentioned very early, and is the principle of the whole charging, so to speak, is even though PPC is you pay per click, in DSP you're paying for impressions, so cost per thousand, cost per million. Sorry. So if that's the case, then is there a metric that they ought to be also tracking, or not?
So yeah, that's one of those funny acronyms because it's cost per mile is CPM, which means cost per thousand impressions, which I swear I learned that like a month ago, which is hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, obviously the basic ones, return on ad spend, simple. It's good to look at cost per click within the DSP just because you're getting a feel for if your ads are actually getting in front of people's faces or if they might be hidden. Viewability rates are really important to look at because if you don't bid high enough, you can just get charged for impressions that aren't actually on people's screen. They'll be off screen, and that's the difference between what we consider a viewable impression versus just total impressions. And then the big one that I look at in terms of especially awareness and consideration metrics is cost per detail page view. That's a big one because it factors in efficiency as well as like which one of these ads are actually causing people to go to our product detail page versus how many were flying under the radar. And that's a good indicator because if you have a really high cost per detail page view, but your sales are also really high, you at least know that your audience is really targeted, but you could be running more efficiently in terms of your impressions.